Just like the officer.
And by the way, to my knowledge, a civil suit hasn't even been filed. Remember the Trayvon Martin case? The lawyers were talking about filing a civil lawsuit. They didn't, because the character of the decedent will become an issue, and the character of Michael Brown will become an issue. Was he this college student ready to go to college on that Monday, or was he a guy with a long record? My feeling is they may very well not file a lawsuit. We'll find out.
You had a choice, and you chose the wrong one. And was it really necessary? No. My son's only 18. Only 18.
So, Larry, I'm going to let you finish up, but I want Van to get in after you finish it. To his mom, she says he's still her baby, but does it matter here to the case whether he was perceived as an adult or a teenage kid, Larry?
The only thing that matters is whether or not Officer Wilson perceived him to be a threat, in a reasonable basis. And the woman is hurting. Of course she's hurting. She lost her son. But for crying out loud, the fact is that the #1 preventable cause of death for young black men is homicide at the hands, usually, of another young black man. The rare instance when an unarmed black person gets killed is precisely why we're talking about this. It is that rare. 7,000 homicides last year, Don. Okay. Most of those, 7,000 homicides of black people, most of them at the hands of another black person. Almost all
Larry,
of those, again, at the hands of another black person.
That is a legitimate conversation, but I have very limited time here. No, that's the only reason I'm cutting you off here. I have very limited time.
No
I can't go into the next show. All right. So, Van, there was criticism during the Trayvon Martin trial that a much younger picture of Trayvon Martin was shown than he actually was, and used in the media. That hasn't really been done with Michael Brown, but there has been talk about his age and about his stature. Yeah. Do you think the media is doing a fair job in covering this?
You know, I think that this is a tough thing to cover. Let me just say something about the age of this young man and why it might be relevant. I've been here now for several days, and there does seem to be an attitude from the police department that I have actually witnessed myself. I'm not talking about what people have told me. That there seems to be an us versus them attitude here. That it doesn't seem to me that the police here at a systemic level understand that they work for the people here in Ferguson. That, and especially when they're dealing with the younger people, they seem to think that there is almost an us versus them, not I'm working for you, I'm working with you to make this community better. And if that has been a standard operating procedure in this department, you could have a police officer that, because he thought he was a young black man, responded in a negative way. So look, I don't think that you got a 6'4" guy. Certainly, whether it's black, white, purple, or green, that poses a certain physical threat if you are afraid. But why are all the police afraid of even the little skinny black guys around here? That's very concerning.
All right, I have to go. Like I said, I've got to get to a break, and I can't go into the next show. Thank you, guys. We'll continue to have this conversation. I appreciate you, Larry. I also appreciate Van Jones, the host of CNN's Cross.
Now, obviously, that was several weeks ago before the Ferguson grand jury had come down. Now, the reason I play that is to just go over the facts of the case again. Because last night, John Legend and Common acted as if what just transpired, the fact that the grand jury looked at the evidence, the fact that the Department of Justice looked at the evidence and found no charges, they act like that didn't even happen. And I've told you about this study that was in the Washington Times, article by Valerie Richardson, and she was talking about a study that was done by researchers at University of Washington. And it turns out it is true that cops and non-cops perceive blacks to be more threatening than whites. That is true. It is also true, according to this study, that cops and non-cops in shooting simulation studies are more reluctant to pull the trigger against a black suspect. Sometimes the difference is a couple of hundredths of a second, which is life and death. It turns out cops are more reluctant to pull the trigger when we're talking about a black or Hispanic suspect than a white suspect. What about all of that? We come back, we're going to analyze